The first time I saw her, I thought she was just another alien working the Khepri station docks. I had been there a few months, fixing, repairing, and tinkering with ships for whoever had credits to spare. My name is Elias Ward, and humans were rare enough in that sector to be treated as curiosities or liabilities. She was tall, almost impossibly so, with skin that shimmered a metallic green under the station lights. Her eyes, large and violet, seemed to pierce through everything, and when she moved, it was like the gravity subtly shifted around her. I had never felt anyone or anything command a room like that. I was rewiring a power relay on Dock 12 when she approached. "What are you doing, human?" she asked, her voice calm but sharp enough to make several nearby workers freeze mid-step. I looked up, startled. Fixing the relay?" I said. It was showing faults. She studied me for a long moment. I felt the weight of her gaze, as if it could press me into the floor. "That's not the correct procedure," she said finally. "You risk destabilizing the entire dock." I shrugged. "It'll hold for now. That's all anyone here needs." Her lips curved slightly, a faint smirk. Bold or foolish. I can't decide which. Before I could respond, she turned and walked away, but then paused, looking back over her shoulder. Her expression changed. Something unreadable flickered across her eyes. "Human," she said softly, almost a whisper, "you'll hear from me tonight." Beginning the summon. That night, I tried to ignore it. The thought of an alien woman, one who could probably crush me with a flick of her hand, summoning me made my stomach twist. But curiosity won over fear. When I arrived at the coordinates she had given, a private chamber in the less traveled wing of the station, I hesitated outside the door. A faint violet glow seeped through the cracks. I knocked, and there was no answer. Then the door slid open silently. She was there, standing as if she had expected me the moment I arrived. "You came," she said simply. "I wasn't sure what to expect," I admitted. "You will always wonder," she replied. Her eyes glimmered in the low light, but her expression softened slightly. "Come in." I stepped inside, and she closed the door behind me. The room was sparse but elegant, filled with alien artifacts I couldn't identify and a soft ambient hum that made the air feel heavier. "I observed you today," she said, pacing slowly. "You take risks that no human should. Yet you survive. Why?" "Instinct, I guess," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "And a bit of stubbornness." She paused and fixed me with that penetrating gaze again. "Stubbornness," she echoed. "Curiosity. Those traits will get you killed or make you extraordinary." I swallowed. "And which one do you think I am?" Her lips quirked into a slight smile. "That remains to be seen." Middle lessons and bonding. Over the next several weeks, I kept returning to her chamber whenever summoned. Each time, she questioned me, tested me, and sometimes trained me in ways I didn't understand at first. She taught me alien engineering techniques that made my human methods seem crude. She demonstrated combat skills that defied human physics. And she did it all silently, judging my every move. Through these sessions, I realized two things. One, she was far more powerful than anyone I had met in my travels. And two, I was growing attached. Not just fascinated, attached. I began noticing changes in myself. My senses were sharper, my reflexes quicker, and my mind seemed to process information faster. At first, I thought it was simply learning, but then I recognized the subtle bond forming between us. Each time she touched a console, a tool, or even me, it felt like a faint resonance running through my body. One night, after a particularly intense training session, I spoke first. "Why me? There are hundreds of humans. Why choose me for all of this?" Her eyes softened slightly. because you do not bend, yet you do not break. You survive what would destroy others. That is rare. That is valuable. Valuable how? I asked, though I already had an inkling. To me, she replied simply, and that was the first time I felt a pang of fear and excitement at the same time. She could have been warning me, but it sounded like something else entirely, something possessive. The test. Weeks later, she issued a different kind of test. Not engineering, not combat, but endurance. She led me to the observation deck overlooking Khepri station. "Look at it," she said. "All this, and you are small, fragile, and yet you survive in it." "I guess I have to, don't I?" I replied, gesturing toward the vast station and the stars beyond. She smiled, something close to amusement, and touched my shoulder. That small contact sent a shock through me, a rush of warmth and awareness I couldn't describe. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "Feel what?" "This," she said, resting her hand lightly over mine. "The connection. The bond." I froze. I had felt the resonance before, but now it was stronger, almost overwhelming. My heart raced. My thoughts scattered. My instincts screamed both fear and fascination. "You must understand," she said, her violet eyes studying me intently. "Once this begins, it cannot be undone. You will be tied to me in ways you cannot imagine. If you choose to leave, it will hurt. Severely." I swallowed hard. "And if I stay?" "Then you will learn what it truly means to survive and perhaps to thrive," she said softly. I didn't hesitate. Ending, choice, and bond. The following weeks were a delicate balance of trust, training, and subtle exploration of that bond. She did not command me, but I felt compelled to stay. The more time I spent with her, the more I realized that leaving was no longer an option, not because she forced me, but because I chose not to. One evening, as the station's lights flickered and distant ships passed in silence, she turned to me and said, "Human, you have adapted beyond expectation. You have survived the tests, and you have made your choice." "I have," I replied, feeling the resonance pulse faintly between us. "I'm staying, because I want to." She nodded, a faint smile touching her lips, the first truly human-like expression I had seen from her. "Then you will survive, human. Not just the station, not just the galaxy, but with me, you will endure everything." I realized then that the summon, the question, the bond, it had all been leading to this moment. I had been tested, shaped, and ultimately chosen. But the truth was, I had chosen her just as much as she had chosen me. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the observation deck, but for the first time, I felt anchored, connected, and entirely alive. The AlienWoman had summoned me. Yes, but it was our decision together that bound us. She touched my hand once more, and the resonance was no longer frightening. It was comforting, powerful, and inescapable. I smiled, knowing this was just the beginning. And she did not let me go.